And welcome back to segment number 3 of the GSMC Football Podcast. And with that, we will talk about some possible trade candidates. And it is April Fool's Day. So, my college, Quinnipiac, so their Barstool page, they posted a thing that Quinnipiac could be adding a football team, will be adding a football team to their athletics program. And then right after I sent it in my group chat, I realized what today was and said that is not going to happen. Now again, they did win the NCAA tournament in hockey last season, so at least they have that. They did lose yesterday, unfortunately, to Boston College, so they were eliminated from that. So they will not be in the they will not be in the Frozen Four this year. So that was a tough loss. But I was for the moment I was excited. I was like, wow, they're gonna get a football team. This is great. Yeah, but that's not happening. That is not happening. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in to the conversation here. But yeah, so with this segment here, we're going to talk about some possible trade candidates. So this is from an article that I saw on, I believe it was CBS. So let's get into, so it was CBS. So a few players here. So one of them, who's on the Jets still, is Zach Wilson. Now, it doesn't seem like he's getting any offers. And if the Jets do release him, well, their cap hit is going to be significant. He might end up being on the roster next year. And it's just the fact that is a possibility. And on top of that, what happened in 2023 could happen again. I mean, you could see Zach Wilson playing for the Jets. He could be on the field. And that would be it would just be a disaster. And Jet fans would lose their minds. But because on top of that, you got Tyrod Taylor, who they brought in, and Tyrod is a solid backup quarterback, but Tyrod also has an injury problem too. I mean, Tommy DeVito had to play for the Giants because Tyrod got hurt. So it's possible we could see Zach Wilson taking snaps for the Jets in 2024, which I mean, if you're a Jet fan, that's got to drive you crazy. But it's still possible. Maybe somebody, maybe the Jets are just that desperate and they just get rid of him. I mean, look at what the Bears got for Justin Fields. I don't know, so we'll see. But that's one trade candidate. But right now, it doesn't seem like that's happening. Now, another one I thought was interesting was Chris Godwin. Now, they did bring back Mike Evans. And, Chris Godwin, well, actually, let's look at his stats with Baker in 2023. So Godwin had over 1,000 yards, 83 receptions, 1,024 yards, only 2 touchdowns. I mean, still had a good season. But, so he signed so this was a 4-year contract with the Bucks. So in 2024, Godwin will earn a base salary of $20 million while carrying a over $27 million cap hit and a dead cap value of $26 million. So that's his current contract at the moment. When did he sign that contract, though? It doesn't say when. It just says he signed a 4-year contract. So I guess this was no. I can't find it, but yeah. So his most recent contract was a 4-year deal. So, but yeah, that's his cap hit. But anyways, that's at least one player that they listed as a possible trade candidate. Now, I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, the Bucks, outside of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I know they had Trey Palmer, who made some plays for them, their rookie wide receiver. But I feel like the Bucks don't have a lot of depth at wide receiver. Now, again, they're probably going to draft one, I would imagine, when we get to the draft later this month. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like you're going to keep Godwin around. I'd be surprised if he ended up getting traded. But, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, maybe he ends up being a trade candidate, after 2024, depending upon the kind of season he has. But I don't see him. I don't see him being traded. Now the other players they have listed as well, a couple of defensive players. Now, the potential suitors that they had, the Cardinals who need a wide receiver, the Patriots, and the Ravens as well. But I don't see Godwin being traded. They got a couple of defensive players, like I said, though. So Matthew Judon, he's another player with the Patriots. Potential suitors for him, the Buccaneers, the Rams, and the Ravens. Was injured last season. I don't think he really didn't play that much. And he's a solid player. Did play with the Ravens at one point. Yeah, so he only had 13 combined tackles and 4 sacks. Actually, how many games did he play in? So he played in. So like I said, he had 4 sacks. Yeah, he only played in 4 games. But last 2 seasons, the prior 2 seasons, he played in 17 games. And he had 12.5 sacks in 2021, 15.5 sacks in 2022. So, and again, he's getting older. Now he's 31. Really hasn't missed a lot of time. Played in 14 games in 2016. 2017 through 2019 played in all 16 games. Played in 14 in 2020. But yeah, played in every game in 2021 and 2022 with the additional regular season game. But only played in 4 in 2023. So I don't know. Maybe the Patriots potentially move off of him. He can go to a team that's a contender, possibly. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And then also another player that could be moved is possibly Budda Baker, the safety for the Arizona Cardinals. 87 combined tackles in 2023, 29 assists. Wanted to look at the amount of games he played in, because I think he was also hurt this year too. Oh, so he played in 12 games. But yeah, he hasn't really missed a lot of games either. Played in 14 in 2018, played in 15 in 2020, 15 in 2022. 2023 he played in 12, which was the least amount of games he's played in a season. But did not have an interception. Actually didn't have an interception his first 3 seasons in the NFL. Had 2 in 2020, 3 in 2021, and 2 in 2022. But didn't have any in 2023. Last 2 seasons he hasn't recorded a sack. Again, but he's playing safety. But you get the idea, though. I mean, he's still 28. Hasn't even hit 30 yet. I mean, we'll see. If the Cardinals move off of him, that's a possibility. And then what did I say? The potential suitors for him. So you got the Bills, which I think, with the moves that they've made, letting go of some of their guys, Poyer and Micah Hyde as well. I don't think they brought back Micah Hyde, but yeah, I mean, they kind of need a safety there. You also got the Colts as well, and the 49ers too. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, despite the slight raise last offseason, Baker's pricey deal and the presence of younger talent in Arizona's defense can make him available. So, well, again, I don't know if the Cardinals are going to trade him within the division, but we'll see. So that's some of the possible trade candidates before the draft. I mean, again, I don't really see Zach Wilson getting traded. I don't at this current moment. I don't see Chris Godwin. I really don't see, honestly, I really don't see any of these guys getting traded. At least before the draft. I mean, maybe you see Matthew Judon get traded. Possibly. Yeah, I mean, I think the defensive guys, I think there's more of a chance to see those guys get traded as opposed to, Zach Wilson and Chris Godwin. I mean, the Bucs, they trying to run it back with the same team. I think trading Godwin, that would hurt them. Again, I see the Bucs maybe addressing the receiver position in the draft. But I don't see them moving off of Godwin. And again, I don't know what's out there for Zach Wilson. I mean, maybe you get if they get a 7th-round pick for him, maybe just to get rid of him. I don't know. But I mean, if I'm the Jets, I can't go into next year with him being on the team. I can't do it. Can't do it. But they again, that's just me. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think. Is there a possibility that any of these guys are going to get traded? And if so, who do you think? Where do you think one of these players will end up if that does indeed end up happening? But I think at least with the offensive guys, with Zach Wilson, with Chris Godwin, I don't see them getting traded. I mean, Zach Wilson, if you're the Jets, you hope you can get rid of him somehow without having to release him, because you cannot go into next year with him on the team. You can't. After everything that happened in 2023, he cannot be on this team. But right now he still is. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think about the trade candidates we just discussed. So when we come back from our final break of the show, we'll talk about some of the risky contracts of 2024. We'll also get into talking about some of the remaining free agents and where they could potentially end up. Because there's still some big names out there, somewhat big names, if you want to call it. But yeah, that's what we will get into when we come back from our final break of the show. So, with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.